Hey guys, welcome back to She's At It Again. Okay, so I did it again. I went ahead and cooked something and then I didn't do an intro to it, so you'd have no clue what I'm doing the first 10 minutes of the video. So this is the intro to that from several days ago. Well, actually just 3 days ago, I think. So these are called Morning Glory muffins. They are gluten-free. They are dairy-free. They are processed sugar-free. They are grain-free, I believe. I think I covered all my bases there. I think you'll like them. These are really good warm. I just tried to crumb off one when it was warm because I made these for my husband. So I want him to have every single speck of them that he can. But these have everything but the kitchen sink in them. I was listing off the things that I put in them and he thought I was joking because he's yelling out, "So no coconut in there?" I said, "No, there's coconut too." So sit back and watch the video and see if it's something you want to try. These actually turned out really good. He said they're fabulous cold. So he said it's very, I think he called it substantial, but he grabs one on the way to the gym in the morning. So he likes them. So hope you enjoy. Hey friends, welcome back to She's At It Again. Okay, I have a recipe this morning and it has 15 ingredients in it. And I almost hesitate to do a video on something that has that many ingredients in it because I think somebody's gonna go, I'm not messing with that. But this is the first time I've made these. I keep hearing about these. I've read information about them. I've looked at several different recipes and this one just kind of piqued my interest for some reason, namely because the first ingredient in it, but I'll talk about that in just a minute. So I have all my ingredients laid out. I did a little video clip of like grating the cheese and chopping the apple and shredding the carrot and things like that. These are called Morning Glory muffins. These have no gluten. These have no processed sugar. These have no dairy in them. This is not nut-free, but it is those things free, so it's got to count for something. So my name's Tanya, if I didn't say that already, and we're going to get started. So I have my recipe laid out here. Let me make sure this bowl is in camera view, and it is. I'm going to turn my oven on 350 degrees. I was baking muffins of a different kind a while ago. I had to do 2 batches, and one you've already seen in another video, so I'm not going to show that again. But I did want to show you these. So the first ingredient we're going to start with in our mixing bowl is 1/3 cup of mashed sweet potatoes, and all I did was just peel a couple of very small sweet potatoes. It probably would have only taken one. So organic sweet potato, and instead of cooking them in water, I put them in a steamer, put the water below it. That way they wouldn't be just sopping wet. It would just be all sweet potatoes. So we have our 1/3 cup, level cup of mashed sweet potato. And this is what piqued my interest because I'm kind of a lover of sweet potatoes. And I know they have a lot of health benefits too, but I had not seen another recipe with sweet potatoes in it. So I thought that was kind of cool. So we're going to give this a try. Now this makes 12 muffins, And if you work it like my family, you make the muffins, you put them in a container, stick them in the fridge. We have an extra refrigerator in our garage. And when my husband leaves to go to work, he normally grabs a muffin out of the refrigerator. But if he runs out of his muffins, he starts eating my muffins. That's why I gotta make these muffins so he'll have some and stay away from mine, because he keeps eating all my muffins. Okay, maybe he's not eating. Maybe they're just disappearing. We'll say that. Maybe they're just disappearing. Next ingredient we're gonna add is 3 eggs. And we'll beat those a bit just so they'll get mixed in with the sweet potato. Next ingredient is 1/4 cup of honey. Now I said there was no processed sugar, and honey is super low on the glycemic index, and so these would be totally fine for someone trying to avoid processed sugar. And I have it measured out in my measuring cup, and I coated it with a little bit of coconut oil before I got started, just so it'd be easier to come out. It won't pour out because honey is notorious for just sticking to things. Next ingredient is 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and I keep mine in this bottle just because my other bottle is the big bottle of, it is alcohol, but it's made with sugar cane, so it's really kind of cool. So I use homemade vanilla. So 5 of these counts for 1 teaspoon. I just measured it out the other day. So a teaspoon of good quality vanilla. Do not use something called vanillin, which is an artificial vanilla. And I said that recently in another video. Check it out, see what it's made out of. I'm not going to get into it. It's too gross. So next ingredient is 1 cup of grated carrot. And I did the finely grated carrot. You can do the regular grate, but I just did the finely grated just so it'd be a little smoother. And then a cup of grated carrot, a cup of chopped apple. This equaled out to, I think it was about, I don't know, 1.5 medium-sized carrots, large carrots. But make sure your carrots are sweet. There's a huge difference in carrots. So find a supplier that has really good carrots. But our big store in town, the organic carrots, are fabulous. I've never gotten one that tasted like it had been in there a long time and had turned bitter. They're always just remarkably sweet. So our 1 cup of grated carrot, 1 cup of finely chopped apple. I have an organic Fuji apple that I used, and it didn't quite take a whole one, but it was kind of big. To that, we're going to add 2.5 cups of almond flour. And if you can find non-GMO almond flour, that would be great, because what I read recently in some research was that almonds are one of the GMO crops. So I hate to be the one to drop the bomb on you, but just look for one that says non-GMO on the package. And I have 2.5 cups of almond flour measured out there. And you don't have to worry about over stirring this, because this does not contain gluten, so it's not going to get tough. The more you stir it, almond flour is very, very resilient. Stir that up and get it all moist, because we're going to start adding some more ingredients. To that, we're going to add 1/2 cup of unsweetened grated coconut. This is the organic kind, and I've had really good results baking with this. And if you're not a fan of coconut, leave it out and use something else if you want to. To me, this just looks like somebody decided that they were going to use the healthiest things they could find in their kitchen and just dumped it all together. So I don't think taking one ingredient out and replacing it with another, as long as it's either dry ingredient for a dry ingredient or vice versa, wet ingredient for a wet ingredient, would make any difference. 1/3 cup of raisins, or you can use chopped dates if you have those. Make sure they're pitted chopped dates. I have both, but my husband seems to like to eat just the dates by themselves. I don't know how he does it. They're just so sweet. It's like eating a blob of candy, but he loves them. So I'll just use the raisins. We always have lots of raisins here at our house. And then I have a 1/2 cup of walnuts, and these were walnut halves, so I just chopped them up. They were a little bit finer than the big chunks. Again, keep stirring. This is really not a super wet mixture at all. I really didn't know what to expect. I didn't figure it would be too wet, because really the only wet ingredients other than our vanilla is our honey and our 3 eggs, and that's not just a whole lot. So make sure you can see what that looks like. Now on this plate, I want to show you what I have here. This is 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of fresh grated ginger, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So these are our different spices that are going there. If you don't have fresh ginger, you can use a 1/4 teaspoon of powdered ginger, but I just find that powdered ginger doesn't near have the taste of fresh ginger. And I'm going to get that fresh ginger in there first and just kind of smooth it over the top. I do not want it to be just a blob of ginger in there, because ginger can be a bit spicy if you get a big blob of it in your mouth. I want to make sure that's all mixed in. And then we're going to just pop the rest of it in there like that. Mix that all together. And I'm going to get out my ice cream dasher, which is actually what those are called. And we're going to scoop these out into a 12 individual cup muffin tin. Now, my muffin tin is a ceramic coated, which is safe. You don't want something that's nonstick that has Teflon, which hopefully Teflon's getting outdated and being taken over by the ceramic industry. But if you have a muffin tin that is just shiny metal, you want to coat it real good with coconut oil or flour, or just butter or something like that, where it'll have a good release to it. You don't want these to tear up, because they look like they might be just a bit crumbly. I could be wrong, but I'm just guessing. We'll see. All right, this looks like it's all combined really well. Let's get our scoop out here. Make sure I'm getting this in camera view. Scoot it back just a bit. Gonna get a level scoop of it and put in there. These are really big muffin tins. Whenever I make some recipes, it fills it up nicely, and they're such huge muffins, and these aren't really supposed to be oversized muffin tins, so, but they are quite generous in the amount that they can hold. I've just found that this is the quickest way to get an even amount of batter in each muffin tin. And then if you have any extra, just plop it on the top of ones that look a little small. I usually start with the corner ones because the corner ones are the ones that are going to cook the most. Then next are the ones on the edges. The two in the center are the ones that are going to cook the least because they're insulated by the surrounding muffins. We're going to bake these at 350 degrees for 30 to 35 minutes. Unlike a regular muffin that's only going to cook for like 20 to 25 minutes, because this is not wheat flour and this is almond flour. It's just going to take a little while longer. That's some pretty thick ingredients in there. As my husband and I would say, this is substantial. These are going to be substantial muffins. So let's pop these in the oven. And we'll see what we have in about 35 minutes. We'll be right back. Our timer has gone off and these have been in there the required amount of time. You know how normally when you bake muffins, even if you put it in a really kind of wonky blob and it's got things hanging off the edge, it kind of smooths out? Well, let me tell you, these don't. These look exactly like they did when I put them in there. All right, let me make sure this is getting a good picture of them. Yep, it is. All right, these are our Morning Glory muffins that have walnuts, raisins, apples, carrots, coconut, honey, almond flour, and a few spices in there, cinnamon and ginger. So I think we're gonna like these. They look all cobbly and again, substantial. So thanks for watching. We look forward to sharing something with you again real soon. See ya.